school, Beretta, eye on the sparrow. I told you, make moves, nigga, stack the dinero. Hands make the world go round, you better get some. I don't know about you, me, I'm a prince. I'm move it with urgency. Trying to murder me, prefer I be in my grave while they out searching. Celebrating with my coins, niggas out here searching. Nah, I'ma wash them with some Tide detergent. You were fucking with the wrong one.
It's your boy Crypto Blood. Let's get started, people. We got a special off the chain episode 78. You see the call-in number. This is one of those tonight. We got a vent. I know people are surprised we hit 20K already. Celsius pausing withdrawals. We got my man Trek on. We got my man Default on. And even 10 Pound might join us tonight. Let's get it. Let's get it.
Of a new flavor, I'm after a new layer of profits a lot greater. God is wild like the West, and I'm like Elliot Ness. I keep my drive locked in, I keep it close to the chest. Grinding for the right moment to rock on to the next. Cause as long as don't close, then my pockets won't rest. God got a vision of riches. My FOMO got the faithfully six.
So tonight, you guys got to bear with me. I haven't done one of these call-ins in a long time. Forgot even how to do it. So stuff is all messed up. All right. So bear with me. Make sure you guys hit that like, that share, that subscribe. Let's get it going. Let's get it cracking. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Stacking my coin, stacking my coin, stacking my coin, stacking my coin. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash. Stacking my coin, stacking my coin, stacking my coin, stacking my coin. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash. Since I was born, been stacking my coin. These niggas pop, my money keep growing.
Fuck it, do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Okay. Fucking thing sucks. We'll do it live. Okay.
Hold on. Okay, there we go. There we go. Welcome to another episode off the chain. Look, I ain't done one of these call-ins in a long time. I hope I'm doing it correctly. I hope I got it set up properly. I got Trek in the building with me. I got Default with me. Two of my contributors on the channel. Let's go ahead and get them in here real quick. And looks like we got 10 Pound coming in as well. So this is great. We're going to have a good talk tonight. Got a lot to talk about. People are pretty surprised that we are at 20,000 already. Am I surprised at the price? Of course not. You know, Crypto Dominance told you we were going there, but I didn't think we would get there that fast. I ain't even gonna hold you up, but I think Celsius, we'll talk about Celsius. I think Celsius probably accelerated that move for the crypto markets. So we'll definitely need to talk to everybody tonight. But let's get the guests in here real quick. How y'all doing tonight?
Yo. What's going on, man?
10 Pound in the building. We got Trek in the building. It looks like he's frozen now. I don't know what's going on. Okay, there we go.
Yo, what up, everybody?
What's going on, bro? I see you got my video up on the screen. I called it. Wow. Wow, this guy. Oh my God, bro.
I'm just saying.
Yo, it is what it is, man. Yo, he calls himself Crypto Dominance for a reason, bro.
Come on, baby. It's me. It's me. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, let me start with Trek. Because actually, let me start with Default. Default was like, yo, you going live? I contemplated it. And he came in the room and said, you going live? And I'm like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do it. So Default, let me start with you. What is going on in the markets, bro? Like, let me pull up really quickly my two Satoshi chart that I always try to reference, and as you guys saw, 10 Pound had in the back of his green screen there. That was me on BitBoy last week, and yeah, I said we were coming here, 21,000, and we are now here. We are now here. Default, what are we doing, man? Where are we going from here? Kind of help the audience out a little bit here.
I mean, one of the, when I first started contributing to the channel, one of the first, the first video I did, I put the pattern on the chart. It was the double top. That's what we've been forming for the last year, over a year. And we broke that, neckline last, I think it was Thursday. And once we broke that line, I think I put it on the last video that we were in a rising wedge. Once we broke that pattern, that was breaking the neckline. We just been downhill from there, and the dollar started to gain a lot more value. Interest rates started to pump, and so you have the Fed hiring interest rates. They're trying to slow the economy down, and you have all these crypto projects that are basically over leveraged, and now they're being exposed for being over leveraged, and there's a liquidity crisis going on. That's basically, to sum it up, that's what's happening. Is liquidity is scarce right now, and a lot of these companies that are over leveraged are being exposed. Just to keep it simple.
We are getting a little price action off that 21. We did dip into the 20s. We printed a 20 handle on Bitcoin just not like about an hour ago. And again, like I think personally, and I would love to hear what Trek feels about it. I know he's not price talk, but this kind of plays into it. Celsius. We have some issues going on over there with Celsius. Trek, what's your take on the Celsius issue? And actually, if people bring people up to speed on Celsius for us, please.
So, all right. So y'all know I'm not a price talk kind of person. So TA is out of my wheelhouse. But if we want to talk about fundamentals, that's a whole other story. There's certain things I pay attention to. So case in point, in regards to Celsius, if you have been actively in, utilizing what Celsius offers, you've noticed from last year, they started doing stuff where they re-registered what state they were in. They started doing X amount of terms of service changes. Then they had the situation of that announcement they did after Bitcoin Miami wrapped up. Then they did the other announcement, was that last month. So depending on how much attention you were paying to what was going on, like if you opened up your emails or like if you were at least paying attention to people who were talking about what was going on the platform, you kind of saw things weren't looking too copacetic, arguably. And so here we are now where I would argue the writing was kind of on the wall, at least within this year, of some of the things that they were then saying publicly. Now, I don't know, nobody who worked on the inside. I've probably seen Alex at one or two different events and stuff. He seems very personable. But here you have it now. Yo, somebody posted earlier. Yo, shout outs to L, boy. L from Caribbean Crypto News on Gentlemen of Crypto side, right? He posted a shot where like the internet is undefeated. Here's why. Somebody showed how Alex had basically posted on Twitter like, find one person who can complain about not being able to withdraw their funds on Celsius, and then there was a post from the next day of Celsius making the announcement of, hey, we're suspending withdrawals, swaps, and trades. And it's just like, bruh, you can literally go to sleep, everything's A-okay, and then you wake up the next day, and this is the stuff that happens. Like, this is the stuff that happens. Welcome to crypto. Welcome to like economic sovereignty. Welcome to understanding the whole thing of what it means to do your due diligence.
Yeah, no doubt. Let me see. I'm trying to see if we're fixing these audio issues because Got an echo going on. I just want to make sure we're getting rid of that echo. Blood, is this your first live? No, it's not my first live, bro. Listen. I haven't done one of these lives where, you know, we got the call-ins and I changed some settings and all that. So now it's all screwed up. So next time I'll be more prepared. Yeah, well,
I
no,
thought he was
you know,
gonna do StreamYard too.
Yeah, man.
huh?
He said, yeah, what's going on with StreamYard, bro? Like, yeah,
Well,
like,
StreamYard, I can't have the call-ins.
okay,
I can't have the
yeah,
call-ins. I haven't figured out how to do that yet. Just quite yet, people.
I mean,
So we had a couple more people in the building. Let me get Karen. Where did Karen go? Karen left? Oh, Karen, call back in. We got LJ in the building now. But 10 Pound, what's your thoughts on what's going on with Celsius? Because I think that this may be crypto's Lehman Brothers moment. I don't know. Maybe not.
I thought Luna was the Lehman Brothers moment for the entire space. That's what really kicked off this entire cascade to the downside, if you think about it. Like,
Okay, listen. Wait. Like, when we say Lehman, I think of the historical context of Lehman Brothers and stuff. Now, Terra wasn't around that long. If you would have said it was one of the older companies in the space, that would make more sense as a simile metaphor situation.
yeah, okay.
But as far as like volume or like amount of money, okay, like yeah, it was a sizable thing for the space. Yeah.
No, it was the DeFi Lehman moment, which in my opinion matters way more than the centralized bullshit that y'all are talking about.
All right, bro. All right.
I mean,
Sorry, bro.
Yeah.
I'm grunge, man.
I agree with you.
Do the speakers just now.
But the question is though, which one is more systemic?
Okay, Celsius for sure. Celsius. Well, actually, no, it's not. Celsius is not far more systemic. Luna was way more systemic. That affected Chainlink. That affected protocols that were like legitimate, like ICP, like Cosmos, like bro, literally like every DeFi protocol was talking about we're gonna integrate Luna in their docs and their Git books. Like literally, it made the entire space look like an absolute fraud. Like it was a mess. It's an absolute mess. Far more systemic.
Okay, so does that mean algorithmic-based stablecoins are a bad thing, or it just means the execution of Terra was a bad?
Yeah, the Do Kwon needs to be in jail right now. That's what needs to happen. Real talk. But I can't necessarily say that he did the wrong thing or did the right thing. It was premeditated. Dude literally withdrew $3 billion before the crash happened. Like,
wait, what? Where did we withdraw $3 billion? B. We said B.
Yeah, in Bitcoin.
It was 2.7.
It was 2.7, but it's still 3 billion if you round up. Hey, bro.
Yo,
it's a lot of money.
Like, how does he not think people aren't gonna come to him? This is a Bernie Madoff moment. Yeah. And I think that with the way that and here's why I'm saying this. Here's why I'm saying it this way as far as with the Do Kwon and that relation to Bernie Madoff. Because like I remember that the joke was, oh, he messed Bernie Madoff messed up and he Luna thing. It seems like a lot of people in different countries and jurisdictions were somehow connected to what he was doing, whether they were indirectly exposed because of the platform that they invested on that was somehow connected to his thing. It seems like there's a lot of butthurt regulators and politicians and like big end business people who are mad because they got like, yeah. And somebody else was probably standing back watching it like, oh, word, you in on this? You on in this? Guess what I'm gonna do? Knock over the whole fucking castle. Fuck it.
Yeah, pretty much that's what happened. Yeah, so I think Celsius is kind of like, just like, business as usual, typical, sweeping things under the rug, double speak, jargon shit, suit and tie, oh, watch me do my charade. But what Do Kwon did was absolutely Lehman Brothers, bro. Like that was Lehman 3.0, bro.
All premeditated, man. All
Yeah,
premeditated.
all of it.
I think the one of the things I've seen somebody post was Celsius was actually invested in Luna, and so they did have a loss. I think it was estimated like 500 million or something like that of their assets was tied into Luna. So if you're arguing which one was more, had a bigger impact, it would be Luna, because it basically has kicked off all this, it's really a liquidity crunch. It's basically 2008 in crypto right now.
It caused a massive unraveling.
And there's no Fed, and there's nobody here to bail you out. And so if you still have funds on centralized wallets or centralized exchanges, I would be cautious of keeping your funds there. I don't care who it is, because even Binance was not allowing you to withdraw.
Yeah, Binance sure was pausing withdrawals earlier. That's very true. I didn't think about that.
Heard that one this morning too.
I'm seeing some posts about Coinbase is whitelisting you got to whitelist your address to withdraw funds, and it's like a 48-hour wait.
That's
that whitelisted.
Because crypto.com only do a 24-hour waiting period for you to whitelist address to exit off on.
Yeah, but that's for security purposes though. They've had that implemented for a while.
No, I'm not saying they didn't. I'm not saying that that's not the rationale behind it. What I'm saying though is that's the extra that Coinbase is pushing in on for like making
recently,
it a 48-hour period.
Like like now. And so, I mean, we're starting to see, like I said, it's like a bank run. It's a crypto run right now.
Well, at least for crypto.com, you can use your card. You can take some of your money off a whole various ways. You can use the card. You got options.
Yo, imagine
until they limit those options.
Imagine if they turned around and closed off people's cards.
Well, all those are possibilities. So I mean, hey, you keep a little bit. You keep a little bit there, and not your keys, not your crypto.
Yeah, well, that's the reason why I recommend people utilize BitPay instead of Crypto.com. I'm not sure if Crypto.com is custodial. It probably is custodial, but BitPay is non-custodial. Yeah, BitPay is non-custodial. Like literally, like your keys, your private keys. You know what I mean? Like you could use Doge. They actually delisted Litecoin. They don't want people using Mimblewimble for decentralized on-ramping at the moment. But they still have Bitcoin up there, so I mean, like, it's redundant. Yeah, bro. Like, for the most part, you should obviously not use cards in crypto, in my opinion. You should always be doing peer-to-peer public key transactions if you're trying to, do a trade for like goods and services in reality. There's always going to be somebody on the other side of the world that wants crypto that's willing to like give you a gift card or a voucher or something along the lines of credit in the ether. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I think all those are part of the development and the learning curve of the space. We're going into a whole different realm. It still has some of the old remnants, but it's got some new aspects to it, and all that's a part of learning. Actually how to be your own bank, how to be your own financial institution. Things that we didn't think about that banks do or other institutions do now. Some of those things we have to do ourselves.
Shout out to J Crypto Minded. He made a point about the U.S. ban possibly was the starting clock for Celsius demise. Like, how do you guys feel about that? Because in a Ponzi scheme, not calling Celsius a Ponzi scheme, but I'm calling Celsius a Ponzi scheme. In a Ponzi scheme, in order to keep, we all say, okay, Celsius 8% interest. Oh, that's modest. And, in the crypto world, that sounds like a very low amount. But 8% is 8%. Okay, I don't care who you're comparing it to. You got to pay out that interest at 8% compounded. I mean, I always wonder where the hell all this money was going to come from to pay. So what I'm saying is, do you guys think, as J Crypto Minded said, do you feel like, with the ban on U.S. citizens, was that the catalyst to get us to where we are today?
Not really.
Were they doing KYC?
They always did KYC. From the get-go, they did KYC.
Nah, I don't think that necessarily, because you got, once again, how much Luna they had. So how would that have changed, the Luna UST that they had? I think that's what hurt them.
Yeah, I don't think these whole like, oh, USA citizens and Iranian citizens and people out in like the Czech Republic, all these different like fine print countries that all these centralized exchange and centralized asset managers are putting on these websites actually make a difference, or people really give a damn about them. They're just going to use like fake identities and VPNs and literally just get around the entire system. There's so many loopholes, you know what I mean? So I don't think that really matters at all for the most part. But let's be real here. Like, if people didn't want to get rug pulled, like, they would have just parked the money in bonds or or a mutual fund, or you know what I mean, like invested somewhere else that's just like absurdly minimal risk, like absolutely zero risk, and still like a 1% return, like, or 2% return. Sure, you're not beating inflation, but you're not losing your basis investment. Like crypto,
Right.
yeah, crypto is like literally like the wildest of the Wild West, So like, it's what it is.
All right. So you're saying that, how do I say this?
Shout out to Bobcat, by the way. I see him in the chat room. Yeah, met Bobcat down in Texas. Excellent chat with him. Had a lot of fun with you guys down there. But go ahead, Trek.
Yeah, I think that, again, like, if you look at what was going on from last year, you started to see certain moves for how they were changing the terms of service, that whole re-registration stuff for changing states, for the incorporation stuff. And I gotta say, like, I was kind of slow on the draw when I was looking at it, like, all right, well, what are we doing? Like, what's going on that y'all are making all these switches all of a sudden? And if I'd have been probably paying more attention, I probably would have been like ringing out on an alarm earlier. But there were definitely people who were. Was the U.S. called thing like the catalyst or the pin that like pulled the what is it, the linchpin in it? Arguably, yeah. It could look like that on our end because we're not involved in X amount of the internal conversations. But over the next coming months or weeks, Reddit is going to be on fire with people doing they sleuthing. And then, Twitter's going to be doing the same thing for people making they like super long threads, breaking down the whole scenario. Because somebody's going to talk. And somebody's going to connect the dots. The internet is always watching. It is undefeated.
Yo, so I got a question for y'all, and this really is to I would say more LJ, who I think out of all of us is the biggest Bitcoin supporter. What do you feel about Michael Saylor? And he did say this on one of these shows. He encouraged unsophisticated investors to basically liquidate every asset they own to buy Bitcoin on leverage. I think I know the answer to this, but it's a loaded question. What do you feel about those types of moves that you see Michael Saylor doing?
Well, I don't know. I didn't hear him say that, and I'm sure he probably did, but I would say this. One of the first rules is not your keys, not your crypto. So if you go by that premise, then you can never put all of yours in leverage anyway. Any of the things that we do in crypto, we should be sprinkling. All the exotic stuff we should be sprinkling, and all that stuff should come after you learning enough to earn the right to lose it a few times first. like Trek said, this is a Wild West, man. You know, I don't have a problem with the Wild West. I prefer it that way because I don't want these people all up in our mix or up in my mix. But at the same token, you know, we've got to elevate our education. We've got to elevate how we understand the space to be, and what's possible and what isn't. You know, so I mean, once again, not your keys, not your crypto. You know, if you have a medium to long term horizon and you've got enough funds to live off of, then you know I wouldn't have a problem with somebody having a significant portion in Bitcoin because it's proven itself over and over to be able to come back. You know, I mean, we you know, I felt this way the way we're feeling now. I remember when it went from 20 down to 3. You know, I mean, and then you know, a year or so later, it was like, damn, man, I wish I could have gotten naked. You know, and I don't. I think that's going to continuously happen. You know, it's not. You know, this is not a new phenomenon. It's going to continuously happen for a while. This is the wild, wild west once again. So, you know, crypto to me is like a laboratory with the tools for you to try out any of your harebrained ideals that you think possible, where in the previous world it took a lot more of financing to do that, so you weeded out some of those ideals. Now, you know, we have the ability to try anything, you know, and like a lab, most laboratory experiments fail, you know.
Yeah. So, you know, true, very true. I'm gonna find this video and maybe I'll tweet it later for everybody and maybe post in this video after we're done with this live stream. But there was a very, very excellent, great, long, in-depth interview on Blockworks with this guy, Asian dude, that was he's like a bond savant. Like he knows the bond. When I say bond, I mean corporate bonds. He knows it through and through. Has traded it for like 15, 20 years. He did an in-depth analysis of what MicroStrategies was doing and how they have their bond structured and all this stuff. It's deep, man. But anyway, I'll find the video. You guys got to go out there and watch it because he basically shows, and I had this gut feeling even before knowing any of these details, but basically he said, you know, MicroStrategies, or I should say Michael Saylor, is really putting MicroStrategies in a very compromising position with how they're leveraging up this Bitcoin position. You know, I've said it in the past. I said it's cool to have Bitcoin on your books. I think you should have Bitcoin on your books, but having it on your books levered out, I think is a very dangerous move, and we're going to see how it all pans out for MicroStrategy. 21,000 was allegedly the liquidation point. We'll see what happens tomorrow in pre-markets. But go ahead, Default.
No, it's not just, you know, we've been, ever since I found out about what, you know, MicroStrategy was doing as far as their Bitcoin holdings. It's not just that they are purchasing and have, you know, a percentage of their books in Bitcoin. It's basically the majority of their assets is Bitcoin.
That's true. That's true. Yes.
Leveraged, unleveraged, like the whole company now is just basically
a shell.
It's like a Bitcoin ETF kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, go in the levels that he went in, you know, he was buying 40K plus, like, and so it was just deemed to fail. But if you just look at his past,
wait. Can I ask this question? Like, all right, whose analysts are the better ones? Whose analysts are the smarter ones, right? So you got the dude that you're talking about in that video. Definitely, when you get it, put it in the chat. You got the folks from like, you know, the traditional institutions of like Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan and all of that. You have who he has on his, you know, team. Like everyone is crunching numbers, looking at paperwork and trying to make X amount of prediction based on past behavior of trends. I'm curious on the end of for how much time, energy, and effort he has put into this, and in hiring out these people to be like, listen, I know I told y'all what I'm telling y'all as far as like I have this feeling and understanding now. I had the oh Jesus moment about Bitcoin, but he had to push down to the number cruncher people to be like, yo, I need y'all to crunch these numbers for me to make sure my shit is mathematically sound.
I think you're giving him too much credit.
You know what I think? I think under normal circumstances, he took a risk that would have been a home run. But looking at, you know, the economics of the world, the world global situation, and then with the Luna and all these things, those were all catalysts, man. Those were things that, you know, just made the environment even more difficult. And so now that risk that possibly would have been a home run is now looking possibly futile.
Hey, can I just say something real quick, boys? I mean, like, men, sorry about that. For the most part, it's not just that, right? Bitcoin is a trust machine, right? Crypto is all about trust. And when the whole world decides that this is no longer a trustworthy asset and they're fleeing to safety, it's time that we have to have a serious conversation about what the fuck just happened in this prior bull run. And yeah, a lot of people got melted. Like literally, a lot of people got absolutely rug pulled, right? Like, dude, it's just
it was obvious. Like I said, since I've been contributing to the channel, and even before that, in November, I stated, I was like, yo, this could be the end of the bull run. I could pull up screenshots. I've been talking to people, you know, Telegram, Twitter, telling friends, family, whatever. Like this is probably it, and not just because of what I was seeing in the chart, but then what the Fed was doing as far as, you know, hinting that they were going to higher interest rates and pull back their you know, their asset purchases. So the thing about MicroStrategies is, to get back on that lane, is, you know, he basically, to me, it seems like he was betting that the Fed wouldn't higher interest rates. And as soon as they start to, you know, hint to the public in November.
Which by the way, default was the easiest play or assumption to make. You know, don't bet against the Feds, right? That's the whole, and that's how we've gotten ourselves to this point. We've run ourselves all the way down to zero bound interest rates. We've run ourselves down all the way to zero Fed fund rate. I mean, that was the play. That was a safe play to assume, right?
Yes and no. Yes, I mean, based on the policy that was occurring, yeah. But as soon as the Fed started to hint that they were going to change their policy, and they start posturing to that change, I mean, and you start to see it in the price action, not just within the crypto space, but you saw with the dollar was still gaining value. You saw that the bonds start to, you know, were creeping up. Like, if he really had these analysts and he really had, you know, people that were, it just seems like he's not surrounded with anybody that's really has any knowledge with the market, and he's just going off his gut.
Here's a question then. So what do you think about how Kathy Woods has been doubling down then?
She's a long-term investor. That's a whole different strategy.
So then so you're saying that Michael or MicroStrategy he has not positioned himself or the company to be long-term?
No, he has not, because the way he is levered and basically issue bonds against or collateralize to get Bitcoin, those are short-term moves, because you're paying that's money that costs you. So it's not a position or strategy you would take long term.
But now
you know what I mean?
But they did a call, I guess, with some of their investors, and he's saying that he's got enough to cover all the way to 3,000.
That is,
and
I don't believe that. I
sent that to y'all a while back ago. I sent that to y'all.
I've seen those reports.
He said that what it was is he's saying, I've got some cash on the side that I'll put in if you know my leverage, you know, calls.
And that's funny, because this guy, I put the video in the chat for you guys. Michael Kyle is his name. I would suggest really to watch this from beginning to end, because he really does in general give you a very good understanding of where we are in the markets in the equity markets and bond markets, and also corporate debt. That's important. I think you guys have always known that. All my followers, you know that you should be looking at those asset classes and those markets in addition to crypto, or to make a sound decision on the direction you want to go with crypto, because now they are intertwined. They are correlated. So it's important to understand that, or have a basic understanding, I should say, of that. But this guy, Michael Kyle, is definitely saying that MicroStrategies doesn't have any cash. They're levered up to the hills.
They don't have any cash, and they don't have any leverage with their, with MicroStrategy stock, because they were using this stock for collateral for the loan, for to purchase Bitcoin. They were like, the people that have lent MicroStrategy money can redeem that loan with MicroStrategy stock, and they can liquidate that stock at any point. And so the fact that he goes to, he has that report that came out and says, if Bitcoin goes to 3,000 and we still have the money to cover, or 4,000, we still have the money to cover. Yeah, that's if nobody redeems their stock. That's just in perfect conditions. And that's where you got to put, you got to put that element into it. There's certain conditions where people can literally liquidate their debt into MicroStrategy and bankrupt MicroStrategy, the stock itself. And so,
you know what, that's something that I see possibly happening as well. I mean, I because we look at Luna, we look at a few of the other things. I wouldn't be surprised if there aren't other players that are looking at all these companies and saying, let's burn them to the ground.
They're over leveraged. They have. He has made a bet, and instead of just admitting at higher prices and took his, he could have took a profit like 2 months ago. He was up still like $1.5 billion. He could have took the profit, or took some profit, or broke even at least. But he has doubled down, tripled down, and continued to buy. It's a wrong strategy. It's a dumb strategy. But like I said, if you look at his past, he has done this before with MicroStrategy. He over leveraged in the .com bubble, and you can look at the price action of MicroStrategy. The stock, it went to like $3 from his high from like 3,000. It lost like 99% of its value. So this is, to me, when I first started researching, and when I first heard about this what he was doing, and I started researching his history and the company's history, I was like, oh, this, I've been saying it for like
he's a cowboy. This is nothing new for Michael Saylor. He is definitely a cowboy and takes a lot of risk. So yeah, I would have never invested in MicroStrategies just because he was the person leading the company.
Wait, let me ask this question. So how did they get out of the $3 a share issue to where they are now? Like, someone bailed them out somewhere. The money came.
Yeah, it's called the Federal Reserve and easy money.
Okay.
It's called easy money.
Like, all right.
Correct.
So possibly the backup plan is the government's gonna come in and save me, and there might be a little, turn of the situation for how he might have to give over some Bitcoin. I don't know.
I mean, the guy's really ex-Navy. You know what I'm saying?
I see where you're going.
It is what it is, bro.
Where are you going? Help me understand what that means.
Yo, he's got friends in the bubble, in the revolving door, dude. That's what I'm saying. For real. Like,
I was tracking with you, 10 pound.
Yeah,
you know
of course.
Trey.
You in the gov too.
I'm starting to realize that when you start looking at a lot of these people, man, even some of the people whom we thought may have been our friends, I'm starting to realize that they come out of that same ilk, man. So I'm to me, I'm starting to realize it's a giant web. They finance the institutions that these people come out of. So it's like they have an endless pool of people to choose from. And at different degrees of willing participants in the conspiracy.
I don't see any of these people as friends. I've been sounding
but that's the
alarm on these
Hegelian,
people.
that's the Hegelian dialect. You know what I'm saying? We wouldn't put two people to make us assume that they're not. Oh, I'll give a good example. It's like the Democrats and the Republicans. You know, they play all that fighting, but then we've seen in the background they go out and have lunch with each other. You know, they've been friend. Obama, come to find out, he was hanging out with the Bushes.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So we're talking about, you know, so
Yep.
once again, that's the Hegelian dialect. And I have to realize if I have that much money, if I have that much power, why wouldn't I hedge? Isn't that what they do? Isn't that a part of their strategy? Hedging their bets. So why wouldn't you hedge your bets against world dominance?
And that's a prime reason why I like Trump, because they didn't go out to dinner with this guy. He wasn't in the
ilk.
He wasn't part of the exactly.
And they thought he would play along because, well, he's wealthy, he's been, you know, so he understands it, and they realized later on that he's not, he doesn't have, you know, the same, you know,
Now don't get me wrong, Trump is part of a group, right? He's part of a group. He's not part of the Washington D.C. on the Hill group, which, you know, I think is probably the most corrupt.
Yeah. Oh, definitely, man. Definitely. You can't have people in office 30-something years, man. I mean, and you ain't done nothing, man.
You spent your whole working adult career in politics. Ain't never had like an actual office job or a physical blue collar label job. Like
never created
Madoff.
businesses, never did none of that, man. Just like, you know, and once again, you start looking at a lot of these people's background, you start realizing, man, you come out of the same ilk, man. You know, it's like, I'll give a good example. It's like, what made me really see that was when we had some issues with, you know, that foreigners or non-Black Americans playing some Black American roles, especially some that were, you know, pivotal. You know, Harriet Tubman role, for example. You know, and then so they asked Spike Lee, like, you know, well, what do you think about a non-Black American playing this role? And his response was, oh, well, they're classically trained over there. And I was like, well, wait a minute. In my mind, I'm like, well, you mean to tell me that there's sisters that have been in Hollywood for decades, they don't have the chops to play that? You know, and then I had to go back and look at his background, and that made me realize, wait a minute, he was all that rah, 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 but ultimately he wasn't really gonna bust a grape, and that was all a part of the Hegelian dialect. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have somebody like, you know, Candace Owens on one side saying racism doesn't exist, and then I'm gonna have somebody on the other side saying rah, 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 but neither one of y'all, we already know, is not gonna bust a grape. So that way if the militant dude is trying to find a direction to go, he's going to look to the rah-rah, not realizing that the rah-rah dude ain't going to have you bust a grape. And then if you turn from that, you're going to turn towards Candace, you know what I'm saying, or something to that effect. And either you're going to fall for that, or you're going to be like, man, all of these people is full of it. And then you're going to back away. And then they ultimately win. You know, once again, hedging their bet. We know most of y'all gonna go this way, but just in case somebody turns around, we don't want you to create no homegrown leaders. We're gonna have a leader or somebody for you to listen to waiting in the cut. You know.
Yeah, straight up. And then all the homegrown leaders, they're gonna be like, nah, we're gonna suppress you, we're gonna shadow ban you. You ain't a part of our chessboard. Oh, hey, whoa.
And you know, and so every time now I look at it like this. Every time they put somebody before us, they're suspect, because you ain't never gave nobody that much airtime. Mm-hmm. They're suspect. You know, I don't care if you fight the power of this and that. You know, it's the same thing. Black Lives Matter, man. Come on, man. You know, a straight dud, man. You know, straight dud. And they laid seeds for it to destroy itself ultimately. You know what I'm saying? So then some of the people who might have been down with, hey man, I think maybe we need to look at this now, and looking at, oh no, you know, let's fund the police, more money for the police. And
all right, yo, I got one. So bet, right? The dude Wale Adiamio, I'm saying his name totally wrong. I don't know if he's Liberian or Nigerian, but he's the go-to guy for the Treasury Department, who is the point man on the sanctions that are being leveraged against Russia. And a couple weeks ago, this gets into this whole thing in regards to like, there are people who are being put into positions that at public appearance don't look threatening. And but when you look at what their actions are as far as the policies or the departments that they sit in, or the things that they're connected to, and you look at it as far as like, how does this work for the American public? How does this work for the regular community people in relation to cryptocurrency and bigger things? If you ever seen this dude Wally on the street, you would never realize who he was. Granted, he may not just be walking around all willy-nilly because of the position he holds in the Treasury Department, but he was at Consensus. He spoke, and I think on Friday, and I thought it was kind of ironic that you have Wally talking about, oh, well, you know, we want to let the industry innovate and grow, but we got to do something about these self-custody wallets. They're not copacetic to what we're trying to do as far as like protecting, you know, or enforcing sanctions. And then he made this sideways comment, and I didn't watch his whole speech, but he made this sideways comment in relation to how Russia isn't using cryptocurrencies to avoid the sanctions, but just in case, we need to start really working on pushing in that people can't have custodial wallets, self-custody wallets. We need wallets that are attached to like, we know who you are. The irony of the shit is, if you've been following me for how many weeks and months now, whether it be here on CBTV doing My Two Satoshis or on Gentlemen of Crypto, I've been talking about for months how the way that Russia's looking to do cryptocurrencies, it is heavy KYC regulatory shit. So you have this dude over here waving the false flag on how they need to protect the people and stop money laundering and stop sanctions and stuff in regards to what could happen in the crypto space. And there's already been reports put out by Chain Analysis that shows money laundering and illegal activities in the crypto space, the volume and the money don't equal up. The math ain't mathing. It's like 10% and less. It don't compare to USD. It don't compare to the dollar.
Billions.
That's the bean counter telling you, nah, the money don't move the way that they talk in the talking points. My point being is that you had him talking on one part of it, and then you got Edward Snowden talking on the other side, like, yeah, you know, you really got to think about this whole thing of privacy and security and how you're doing your self-custody stuff. And it's just like, wait a minute, like, how do we have both of these people in the same event? I would argue that there's X amount of a mixed message thing going on. I have a whole nother thought process in regards to like psyops in relation to Edward Snowden. Not going to run down that rabbit hole on this one. But for the most part, for what I think is going on right now, like the regulation stuff is coming in, and arguably there are people who are intentionally making chaotic situations play out within certain projects, platforms, and businesses in order to have the regulators be able to have the talking points and the arguments to come in the space, at least within the American jurisdiction. That's just me and my woo-woo.
Yes. I agree with you. Well, on that last point, definitely. And, you know, they have already been talked about in the background that the regulation is coming, and they just need an excuse. And people are going to be clamoring for that regulation because they're losing so much capital at this point. And so they're just creating these conditions, and then you create the atmosphere to get these laws passed. And I mean, if you really look at what's going on, like, to me, we're talking about this is crypto and stuff like that. But to me, this is not the original intent of crypto. Like, this is basically an unregulated banking entity that is over leveraged, doesn't have the funds to cover their liquidations, basically. And now the whole price of the whole space is subject to, whether or not they are going to get liquidated or not. And so to me, it's like, it's kind of, I've been making this argument. It's like, you know, people are looking for a way to use crypto, the way to utilize it, but they're really just mimicking the old system.
Facts.
Yeah.
And so by mimicking an old system with basically no, you know, no Fed or nobody to bail out when times get tough, people are going to be
We go much lower. We go much
Exactly.
lower, right? I mean, I was talking to my buddy earlier about this. He's been in the space pretty much the same amount of time as I have. I introduced him to the space like literally maybe 6 months after I got in, and we had the same conversation, like no Fed to bail him out, and actually the Fed can give one rat's ass about the crypto markets, right? So whatever they're trying to do to tame things, bring inflation down in the real economy, bring prices down in the stock market if they feel it's overheating or whatever their policy is, they believe me out there, you guys listening, they don't care one bit about what happens to the crypto markets. Matter of fact, they wouldn't mind if the crypto markets went down another 60 to 70% from here. And it very well could if the Federal Reserve continues on their path. And I don't see them changing course at least till September. So, like, I'm just wondering from you, Default, man, like, how low do we go now? Again, I didn't think we would be at 20K this fast, but now that we're here, we're kind of ahead of pace, in my opinion. Like, I think we go lower, much lower.
And I've stated a few times on the channel, I said 12 to 14K area. That was the measure move of that double top. And we broke the neckline, and it's just been an acceleration of lower prices. And we're getting a little relief right now. And I posted on Twitter that we do have some bullish divergence on that, lower time scales, because we're just so oversold. But I mean, it just I'm not really. I think we get to 12 to 14K in that area. I think we have you have the catalyst, you have all the conditions, not just in the crypto space, but in the broader economy.
Broader economy, man. I think that's now I'm really
Bro.
starting to. That's where I'm really starting to worry, because I realize that it's not just crypto. These people honestly really don't give a damn for the majority of the world population, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Facts.
And I think they really realize that they can bring the people to their needs, man. You know.
All right.
Yeah, that's the whole idea. If you think about it, Lil John, the idea is really detonate, literally
Yeah,
just
yeah,
control demolition. This whole fucking thing, bro. Just boom.
Wait a
Nah,
minute.
man.
Are you like invisible up in this bad boy now, or are you crypto blood? I'm just trying to understand. Are you crypto blood or?
Bro, I've been a robot this whole time. Y'all just ain't.
Yo, he been on Oculus this whole
Black,
time, bro.
black
Like,
robot.
That wasn't even
black
him.
robot.
Bro,
he's
man,
the bot. He's the bot they've been talking about all this time, man.
yeah, bro.
Yo, so let's
man.
hey, look, fellas,
Your
let,
position on BitMEX.
let's get this caller in, because we've had a few people call in. We've had a few people call in and they've been dropping off, so I want to get this caller in here. I'm gonna unmute them now. Caller on the line, go ahead and speak what you want to speak. What's on your mind tonight?
They just got muted.
Yeah, I made a mistake and unmute. There we go.
What the hell is going on with this market, man? I've invested my life savings, and I'm ready to jump off a bridge or take a deep dive. I don't know what the hell is going on. But somebody please tell me what the bottom is, so I can tell this woman to stop tripping on me.
What did you invest in? What did you put it all in?
Hey.
Man, I'm all Bitcoin.
Okay. Well, look,
Yeah, listen, you losing the least.
I would say this.
You losing the
You're gonna feel
least.
the pain. You're gonna feel the pain. If this is your first time, but you'll look back in a few years and it probably won't be
Listen.
bad as you think. But if it had been anything else, then yeah,
What was your price point? What was your price point you got
So
in?
I've been buying. I'm glad you upped that 10 pound. I've been buying on the way down, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. So, 25 was attractive, 24 was attractive, 23 was attractive. I'm looking at 2022. The lady looking like our account ain't right, and I'm just saying, give it time. We gonna make it.
Well,
So,
if you
started
got
at 24,
if you got in at 24, bro,
you're good.
you're good.
You're good.
That next up is gonna be real.
What's his average?
Hey,
What's
bro,
his average price?
so my overall average is still decent because I did start at 17, but I'm
Hey,
on my
listen.
Luna game right now.
Oh my
Look,
God,
man,
bro!
hey,
If
look,
hey,
right
listen,
now-
if
right
you
now-
feeling like this right now, you in the wrong game, brother.
Hey, look,
You-
right now, all you should be doing is learning about the space. That's all you should be doing right now. You know what I'm saying? Learning about the space, making sure that that you control your own keys. You know what I'm saying? Learning about hardware wallets and those things, and learn how to secure yours, and just dig into the space, man. Learn about the
I'm
tech.
glad
Now,
you brought
all,
that up
all,
too.
all, all jokes
ahead.
aside, though, go ahead. I'll let you speak.
Oh no, so crypto. This CB, this your cousin, bro. I don't know if you know my voice or not, but yeah, this Chaz from Cleveland, man.
Chaz, what's up, brother?
How you doing, Chaz? I'm good. But yeah, man. So I've been dealing with Celsius and a lot of these different interest-bearing apps, and we see that interest has really decreased on a lot of these different apps. I mean, across the board, you only got maybe one or two that actually held the interest rate. What are y'all perspective on this? I mean, what do you think is going to happen in the next 2 to 3 years? Should we just go to a full hard offline wallet and just protect our earnings, or should we continue to mess with these different companies that are promising? I mean, 6-7% is not bad, but shit, when you start talking 3 or 4 and 2 and 0 point, it's almost not even worth the.
Well, I knew we were gonna. It was inevitable that these rates came down.
Yeah.
Because you just can't. There's no way you can pay these types of rates out without the company taking on extreme risk to then pay the interest on that money. So those high rates.
Get your money into a hardware wallet, dude. Learn about hardware wallet, even if it means taking a little bit off and going and learning about. Get your. That's the first thing, man. And then if you choose to sprinkle, then once again you sprinkle a little and you're not. But as long as yours is on the hardware wallet, and you understand how hardware wallets work and that tech, people are gonna be coming to you, in a few years, asking can they borrow some, but once again, this is a part of the pain of that space. This is a part of the pain of being early. This is a part of the pain of we're financing, a new money system, or we're financing the ability for the people to have something separate than what governments and big corporations are going to shove down our throats at some point in time in the very near future.
Hey, Cuzzo, I really want you to watch that video I dropped in the chat room. It's about an hour and it's a long video, but it is a very good. I really want everyone to go watch that tomorrow if you have time. Hour and 40 minutes.
On it, and I'm gonna drop something on the my two Satoshis with it.
Okay, good. Yeah, because he makes some really good points. He's not against crypto. He's just skeptical of crypto, which is fine. You got to listen to everybody to then form your own opinion. That's what I always tell you guys. Don't just listen to people who are fully 100% bullish on crypto, and don't listen to the Peter Schiffs either, because he's an idiot. I mean, Default and Trek, you guys have seen him since you've been in the space. I've seen him since I've been in the space. 2013, he's been telling you to sell every time it crashed, and look where we are now. But at the same time, I just want to say it is different this time with crypto. It is different this time because crypto came into existence with the easiest money policy that this country has ever, this world has ever seen. We don't know what it looks like in a Paul Volcker high interest rate situation or scenario. We don't know what it looks like with a full-on recession, like real talk recession, or even close to depression. We don't know what Bitcoin and cryptos look like. So we can all speculate, But we also have to be careful because that is normalcy bias. That's why I put that out earlier, that tweet. I said, check your recency bias. I mean, because all we know is what we know in Bitcoin from 2010 or and up. So
I'm gonna
go ahead, Default.
And this is why I've been very, I've been warning people for months now, because there's nothing that says Bitcoin has to make a new high ever again. Facts. And so I know a lot of people believe that.
That is so true, bro. That is so true. And the thing is, it still works. If it doesn't make another new high, it's still the technology still works.
Technology is set. It's gonna work as long as there's miners. So you always got to keep that in mind. And so, I don't know if the caller's still on, but if you're feeling, the pressure now at these prices and you're still in profit, maybe I'm not a financial advisor or anything like that, but if you can't take Bitcoin, losing value, because I'll keep stating, I believe Bitcoin's going to 12K. That's where I'm seeing, the price. That's
good God Almighty.
The double top. So if you can't take that type of price action, maybe you take some off the table and just wait. I mean, things could change. Like maybe the Fed comes out and changes its policy. Anything's possible. But it also is possible, like I said, Bitcoin never makes a new high.
Hey, can I just have a moment of rationality here? And can I get
only if we can see you?
Okay, fine. All right. Okay, all right. So, boys and gals, I want to give y'all a brief little seminar as to why it's important to actually buckle down and learn about the crypto from a protocol level and integrate with these non-custodial wallets and start building with the technology to create useful technology such as this screen, this metaverse world that I'm in behind me right now. All right, you can humanize these assets and you can literally sell access to them and create generational wealth in a basis of operations in digital cyberspace with the aid of NFTs and distributed ledger technology from a core user protocol level, right? In advanced
where you just packed in every punchline, buzzword that blockchain has created in the last 10 years.
Literally, like, bro, like if you really care about crypto and you're not just here because number go up, number go down, like you will be looking into what I'm saying and you'll be doing your due diligence. You'll be paying attention. You'll be seeing what's real, what's fake, what's literally going to be vaporware in the next, 24 months, and what's actually like the strongest protocol that's actually going to secure these networks of value.
Like, but come on, let's be honest though. I would say about 95 to 98% of the people in this game are all number go up, number go down.
Well, that's true. But there was something that somebody said the other day, and that was that we come for the money and then we stay for the tech or for other things. So I mean,
okay, yeah,
that, and I believe you can have both because that's the reward for being here early. That's the reward for being in early. That's the reward for putting in, whether it's financial or sweat equity, into the future.
But are we early? Are we is that saying early? Are we past that now? I think we are. I'm gonna be honest with you. When Snoop Dogg is all up and through, but it doesn't matter.
Idea of what the tech is. We've got to wade through all the FUD and all the bullshit protocols and projects to get to what this is really supposed to be about. And once we get to that and people begin to really understand that, then we'll be at that point where.
All right, hold on. I gotta jump in on this one. I love LJ for his altruistic outlook, right? But like Nagma, man, like we not all gonna make it. Like,
I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that.
Oh man,
like I used to say the same thing all the time. Like I came in on the money side of it, but I stayed for the tech, right? But that's just me being a geeky techie person. It's a number of people out here who have way different operational environments and concerns than me. And you understand what I'm talking about, LJ. Mm-hmm. And this is not a directed at you thing. But when we and when I say this, we talk about people who come in, they go through the cycles, they get burnt, they learn a lesson because they got scammed. Like all of that stuff happens, right? But for those people who learn the lessons, it's still going into a minority of, it's going to be a smaller and smaller group that end up taking the time to learn the thing and deal with the more self-custody, self-sovereignty, like due diligence side of it, because X amount of products are going to come that are going to streamline the whole process and be able to make it, quote, easier and more familiar to how you can use traditional finance stuff. Not talking about tech, we're talking about use case and understanding and user experience. Those things are going to happen. X amount of the majority of the folks are going to be like, all right, I'm cool, I'm going over that way. Like, think about this shit right here, right? You literally have it that you can do a number of things on your own using blockchain technology if you just take the time to learn how to use these different protocols and integrations, right? Yet there are businesses coming up. There are on the retail level as well as the institutional level that are coming up, and they're being funded by other like accelerator incubator parent company joints that are putting up a new paywall to charge people to do the shit that they can do for their own.
Is widely available.
But that's part of the reason why I said that's the reward for us being early, because the people that are going to come in, the people you're talking about are the people that are going to accept those platforms that make it easy and allow them to do. But there's going to be a trade-off. There's going to be a trade-off for any of those platforms. There's going to be some of us who realize I don't want to pay for that trade-off if I have the tools to do it myself. Everybody's not going to make it, of course. A lot of people are going to just accept whatever the government and everybody else hands to them, and they just going to run with that. But the difference is we realize we have a tool set for those who really do care to work with it, as opposed to you not having anything to work with, and especially the reason why I encourage it, especially people coming from my background, the way the economies and things are going, if you don't have certain skill sets, certain traditional skill sets, you're going to be asked out. And yes. So if you have an option, either you learn this new game, or you better have a cold trade, an old school trade, you know what I'm saying, that people are going to need for a long time to come. People still going to need their cars fixed and all that type of stuff. But if you cool with that, then that's fine. But if you're not, then you need to be thinking outside of the box. You need to get ahead of the curve, because you're not going to bridge that gap. And right now, this is the opening, because there's still not enough people that understand what this space is about and what it really can do, about how the Legos can be put together to create a multitude of different things. And so those people who step out ahead will have the ability to do that for their communities, go in for their communities and say, hey, we can, there's a whole host of things we can do. I've created something, you can watch your money, you can see it, you can see where it's going, what I'm saying, you can participate, you can, take advantage of it. You can have a say in how the funds are used or done or so forth. And so that's where I come when I say that we're early. We'll be the people who the masses will be coming to say, hey, I want to.
Okay, so I agree with you that we're early in the tech. I guess my question was posing, or I thought you were saying or alluding to the fact that we were early in the price.
No,
maturity.
I'm talking about the technology. I'm talking about the technology. Because, man, dude, I talk to people that I would assume should know something about. Like, I every time I see an Asian somewhere, especially some younger Asian, I always hit them up, man. And you'd be surprised how many times I never hear anybody that, they know a little bit about NFTs or Shiba Inu or something like that. But other than that, they don't know anything, man. I met some brothers, just some young brothers the other day at standing out in front of Whole Foods, and they was like doing some program where they were helping some company get donations or something. And when I asked the two brothers, do either one of y'all have a crypto wallet? And it's the first time ever that any youngsters have ever said, yeah. And I didn't give them a whole lot, but I blasted them a couple dollars, man, on them wallets, because they was the first youngsters that I ever met that had a wallet since 2015 that I've been in this space.
Well, yeah, that's mind blowing to me. That's mind melting. Especially because,
Really?
like, yeah, I think because like the younger population is sort of like knows the technology more than some people. You know,
It
like,
ain't about the tech, man. It's about the price. It's about the price.
I don't, dude.
If the price is pumping,
I mean, I gotta agree with default, man. It is about the price, and that the price has gotten us where we are today as far as the allure, right? CNBC, Bloomberg, they don't care about the tech. They've been pushing and talking about cryptos to their class of investors, the investment class. They don't care about tech. They just want to buy.
They don't care about the truth at all.
Yeah, well, at all. Yeah, seriously, that's a terrible example, CB.
They don't care about the truth at all, man.
Yeah.
You know, if you wait to get it, the media has never made us first at anything. So anytime the media is presenting something to me, the first thing I say is, wait a minute, you've never made me privy. Why are you acting like you're making me privy now?
I guess what I was trying to say, guys, is that if it weren't for the price, the allure of getting rich in Bitcoin, we wouldn't be where we are today. We may still be in 2014, 15.
But doesn't that apply to everything?
Wait, hold on.
It does. That's
almost.
That's the reason why some people get married. That's the reason why literally people like.
That's why you got a gang of young brothers who want to be rappers.
So then really we're talking about like
facts
of social engineering for introducing a new technology. We'll frame it a certain way in regards to what applies to most people's wants and desires. Money helps you acquire more wants and desires, right? If I make gains, what do? I spend it on like the traditional things that show flashiness, that show that I quote made it, right? Lambo. Like, this is why I be getting annoyed about the whole thing with the price talk push that has been going on for like the last four years, like
ever since 17.
Right, like
ever since 17. Ever since 16, 7. Yep, going into 17.
Before then, I mean, it was important, but it wasn't the driver.
Right.
We literally had this talk, CB, with Crypto Keeper about like how we were looking at things then compared to like how we moving now.
Correct. Yep.
Because really, until those prices elevated to those type of levels, nobody believed it would get there. But once it did get there, it changed the whole narrative. And
wait. Okay, but here's the thing that I'm saying though, as far as was it that the narrative changed because of natural price movement, or was it because there was a orchestrated thing to get price movement to bring it to this kind of thing? Because once you take away the referencing of the technology and the fact that the technology has a multiple checklist kind of utility, and you only just say, hey, this is a finance thing, hey, this is a money thing, I always argue that like the words you use give people a either limited or an expansive idea of how to understand this space. So when you say stuff like, oh, it's like a stock, oh, so you mean I have to go to a third party to have them do the stuff for me, and then like, you see what I'm saying?
I agree with what you're saying, and I always tell people that get in this space. This is not the stock market. Cryptos aren't stocks. This is a whole different dynamic, and so it is important how you frame these conversations. But like I said, I'm just being honest.
Yeah,
Most
well,
of these
bro, still, man, like, yeah, we get that. Everybody, it's the elephant in the room, dude. It's a giant 5,000 pound gorilla. Everybody gets it, dude. Money is the root of all evil, bro. But here's the thing. Seriously, here's the here's the fucking thing, boys. Like, seriously, yo, if you can build here and you make an established product like Yuga Labs or like uh, you can literally create a cultural icon. You could create
Negative, negative,
negative. Oh, come
negative,
on, bro.
negative. How do you think Yuga Labs even became as big as it is? It's because of
manipulation,
money.
manipulation.
It's because
They
of
had the
money.
war chest behind
Using,
them.
Oh, yeah,
using,
they did.
using,
Yeah.
using.
There was a definite marketing strategy behind how they pushed out the first line product, which was Bored
Right,
Ape, and
right.
then
Okay.
how
Yeah,
it
yeah.
then came to.
Well, okay, duh. Obviously, I get that, but it's still amplified. Like, yeah, they had billions to start, but they still like turned the project into a smash hit success.
But do
And
you
people,
have billions to start? That's the thing.
not necessarily, but I do have
Right.
millions, and that's besides the point. That's besides the absolute point, right?
No, it's not.
The idea is literally you build a brand, you establish a brand, you have brand authority, you obtain IP, and you start a substantial business. That's the whole idea. You
I
acquire
agree.
assets.
I agree.
You mean like
with
Reggie?
No, I agree with it. I agree with
Now, how does this play into Reggie's patent? Hashtag.
Hashtag, bro.
Hey, I agree with him in the context that when I say that this is what crypto is for, it's that laboratory. It allows you to create things with minimum, whether it's minimum financing, minimum tools, minimum, whatever, where we couldn't do that in the past. In the past, you literally had to go get raw materials and, bang a bunch of stuff together to actually create something, as opposed to now it's a lot more easier. So in that aspect, I do agree with him. Another aspect I do agree with that we gotta always go back to, and this is what's holding me, you know, uh, 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 into the space, even during this downtime, is that some of the greatest wealth that's ever been acquired in history has been acquired during down periods, not
Yep.
during up periods. See, the masses don't know that. And even the people that do know that, that is a very hard thing to do, man. Right now, like the brother Carl right now, man, imagine him facing everybody and keep maintaining his conviction. You know what I'm saying? Which, and probably he's far more right than anybody around him. But to maintain that conviction during this downtime, that's what separates those people who get the extraordinary wealth during these downtimes. And so once again, right now I'm looking at this downtime as a time where I need to double down and build. I need to double down. You know, I need to give it my all. I need to put my all in it. And once again, it's not going to be easy because you're going to have
I do want to chime in real quick.
I've seen people in Africa, I kid you not, they don't even have access to a computer, right? They have access to a tiny little smartphone. They're doing illustrations on a smartphone. And then they reach a big money investor, a huge Silicon Valley VC on his platform. And then they blow up overnight and they get tons of resources. Like, I kid you not, I've seen it.
I ain't never seen that shit in my life.
I facilitated it. I recorded
I ain't never
it.
seen that shit in my life.
Yeah, I know you probably
You
haven't.
also don't pay attention to nobody outside of the U.S.
Bro, you're
bro.
not in the space
Stop.
I'm in, bro.
Hey
You don't
guys, I
even
would
pay
like to
attention to
chime in
folks
real quick.
inside the space.
Let
I would like to chime in real quick, guys.
yeah,
if
let the
possible.
speaker
I
chime
did want
in.
to. You guys are absolutely right as far as the tech goes. Like you said, you come in for the price, you see the number, you see the profit, and then you say, "Oh shit! Well, I can send money across the country, across the world, without a middleman or about anything." And then you learn about the tech, and then you do become involved a lot more. The downside is, as I know, our culture is a bit slow in certain realms, so you can even think about that. Most people don't even know they can buy Bitcoin on Cash App. And then how fast you can look at the point of view that how fast the Cash App, the ability to send funds between person to person, how slow that took in our community to even catch on. So now that we can actually have wallets, be our own banks, and do so much more in the tech side in 10 pounds, and maybe about 2-3 years I can, you know what I mean, get where you at, bro. I need to feel. But all honestly, man, it takes so long for us to even catch on to the right path that we almost end up missing the train before it even, we even find out that it's at the station. So
And,
I do want y'all to think. I know we all in the bubble because we do have some very techie backgrounds, but from the guys who just literally found out 2017, 2018, so forth, price is all they know. And in the tech, they look at that as an option, but shit, they still trying to get off the situation to focus on the tech. You know what I mean?
Right.
well, I say this: I don't come from a tech background, but I consider myself a techie now. That's all I ingest, man. I don't watch any TV. I don't watch, I just ingest the tech, man. I ingest, you know, uh, understanding how the Legos can be put together to create things beyond what we even imagined
Wait,
possible.
so
You
so you
know,
telling me you didn't know that Golden State Warriors won, baby?
no,
Let's
I didn't.
go, let's go.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't watched the game, man, in some years, man. You want me to tell you why? Because there was a time when I was in those places, and I had people that
TV,
could
you
give me the
wildin'.
stats, could give me the stats of every player and games and this and that, but couldn't tell me how to make a legal dollar, man. And so the minute that I saw that, and then I found out what the word fan meant, it meant a fanatic. And I come from the
Yep.
bricks,
Yep.
man. I'm not a fanatic of no man. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Hell yeah.
My kid ain't playing on the team. My nephew ain't playing on the team. I'm not a fanatic of no man. You know what I'm saying? I might have respect for you. Now, I might like your get down, but I'm not your fan, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So the
Yeah,
minute,
no,
so
Yeah.
the
I'm with
minute,
you.
the
I
minute,
I,
the
I
minute
haven't
those
watched
words,
one game of the
then
finals.
the minute those words and all that, then I had to back up and say, wait a minute. I had to look at everybody else and say, wait a minute. You know the stats of all these players, but you can't tell me how to make a legal dollar. Yeah, you're a fan. You're a fanatic for this dude. I'm not. So I'm gonna do the complete opposite of what you're doing.
Yeah.
And after
Yeah.
that,
I
I've
do want to
stopped.
ask you a
I've stopped
question, bro.
watching any of that. Yeah.
I guess this will be my last question for you guys, and I want everybody to kind of chime in. It seems like I can even relate to that. As soon as you get into the crypto market, whether you're Bitcoin, Ethereum, or whether you're in DeFi or in Metaverse, you literally look at the world entirely different to the point where the same sports teams that you used to spend thousands for is not even a relevant picture in your mind anymore. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's just like you see the world entirely different. So you don't even watch from football to NBA to whatever your favorite sport was. It's almost like, yeah, I'll go to the bar if people are there that I know and I'll watch it, but I'm not going to know the names. I'm not going to know the scores. I'm not going to keep up with stats. I'm worried about price movement, moving averages, etc. So, you change your entire life. But yeah, you guys, I'm gonna keep watching on the YouTube, but I'm gonna let y'all handle that question.
Hey, so I want to answer this one. So the idea for me is like I try to find a way to see if I can integrate those authoritative brands into the space. I've literally taken the liberty of talking to some people in the music industry and helping them integrate into this space. Pretty much what I was obsessing over before, which was primarily rave culture, I found a way to turn crypto into a rave culture business. That's exactly what I did. Like, and that's what I still continue to do to this day. And if anything, I'm trying to find ways to actually integrate esports into the metaverse with some sort of crypto spin, some sort of crypto play into it at the same time. Because those are the two primary niches that I focused on when I was young: esports and rave culture. So ultimately, that's what I'm led to do. That's what I'm gravitating towards. And crypto is sort of the means to create that legal dollar, that framework for finding a way to liberate people, allowing them to find out their tribe, right, through their already established mediums in Web 2, and then deploy their IP in a way which makes sense for their audience to digest. And it's been a success. I was sitting down with him in Las Vegas, at a fancy restaurant, right, sitting next to some Apple engineers and another crypto nut who just so happened to be trading on the BitShares DEX with me, practically anonymously at the same time, right? Like, and he was somebody that actually won. Uh, I kid you not, like this NFT competition where it was more so like a treasure hunt. It was crazy. It was absolutely dynamic. And you had to go dig up the treasure and everything. It was like Cicada 30331 type of treasure hunt. But
Oh yeah, I
on
remember that one.
yeah, yeah, but all on chain, and it was all based around rave culture. It was mind melting. It was incredible. And I think like having those sort of mediums is literally the future. Being able to blend the lines between reality and the metaverse, or reality and crypto, to make it make sense to the average person, is literally what the space is missing, and where the disconnect is between these big money VCs and the average layman.
Hey, before the next person, answers my cousin's question, I was wondering, 10 pound, when did Cicadia come out? Was that before Bitcoin or right after?
I'm pretty sure that was before Bitcoin.
I wonder if any of them had anything to do with the creation of Bitcoin. It was very clever experiment. Very clever.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
pushing the boundaries of cryptography for sure.
absolutely. So I guess we'll have Trek go next.
I honestly don't even remember what the question was, dog.
Yeah, you got wrapped up the tip out. You got wrapped
I got wrapped up in what Tam was saying, and then like I'm trying to talk to you.
So I'll rephrase it. Can I? So he was saying something along the lines of, since when people dive headfirst into this space, like the DeFi, CeFi, metaverse tech, they completely lose interest in the trivial matters of our reality, such as, oh, who's playing the Super Bowl, or uh, what's going on reality TV, right? And there's some sort of like disconnect between the regular average person, right, and a typical crypto user. Like, how do you sort of like see the average person quite possibly comprehending something so techy, something so verbose, right, as crypto, when there's just so many distractions, and literally there's no like easy way in that's obvious per se? That's how I would rephrase the question.
Okay, so in regards to I'm gonna say that, and this goes to something that LJ said earlier, as far as like he considers himself a techie person now, but he doesn't have the technical background as far as being a coder, as far as being like a computer engineer. I think between like 10 pound and default, and I think U2CB, y'all have X amount of code inside skill with y'all. I've tried my code in hand. It ain't that great. So I effectively say I don't code, right? But at the end of the day, going to the point that LJ made about when you start to really understand, and not where you can write out and understand all of the function calls within the lines of code, but understand how these things integrate and come together, like, yeah, it does start really making you look at what's going on in your bigger operational environment differently. And then you start questioning things out. Well, does the sport game thing really matter right now? Does the housewives of whatever, high end county system thing matter right now? Like, yo, there's a housewives of Legos right now. Like, I'm talking about the African country. Okay.
Word. I saw that trailer. Yep.
That joint popped up in my feed the other day, and I was like, wait, what? Like, this is where we at right now? And
hey, about time they start showing us in a positive, wealthy light, though. Hey, I'm with it.
I'm not gonna say no to that part of it.
Instead of us showing us the African booty scratches of Lagos, that's how they really want to show us.
Right. But then the other part of it, I also can't really say nothing because I have my whole like binging on sci-fi and anime moments, right? And in part because I try to like step away from all of the other stuff that I be thinking about this space, and how I start questioning bigger geopolitical things, how I start questioning how the economic system is set up here, how I start questioning like, yo, how am I gonna work on this like other passport or citizenship situation? Is that even an option for me? Like, most folks who look like me here in the States do not even understand that as far as the US sees it, you can have several, more than, well, there's a number of 3, but it's not saying, there's no hard line saying you can't have more than 3 citizenships. Most folks who look like me don't even know you can go past 1. Okay. And I think that when you start exploring beyond just flipping NFTs and price go up, price go down, and you start really getting outside, like this is like one of the things that I go with, that I say in the Matu Satoshi stuff. Like, I hope that some of the stuff that I present to people gets you to start questioning outside of what is pushed towards you as the social norm, as the here's where you're only supposed to be at. I hope that it does that. I can't guarantee it. I can't promise it, but I hope something I say gets you to start questioning things going on in where you are in life. And for all, if not most of the people that I have met in this crypto thing, in this blockchain thing, the majority so far have been like, hey, once I got in, then I really started actually questioning the other things about like how the economic system works. And then it also got me into like understanding X amount of stuff about politics or bigger businesses. And well, what am I doing right now to actually like generate or be able to hold some kind of generational wealth for my legacy, as far as my offspring, as far as my family and stuff like that? Or as well as like, well, what do I do to get out of the American system and just go be in a whole nother country? Like, a number of the people that I've met in this space eventually get to that point. Is everyone going to get there? I don't believe that. Is everyone going to want to stay there? Because when you really start pushing on how do you be economically sovereign, how do you protect your economic sovereignty, that's when you start coming into the more manual setups that aren't convenient. Like, they're meant to be inconvenient so you don't look to be outside the walled garden. Bottom line, that's the whole thing of why people get comfy with, oh, I got my Apple Pay. Okay, I have my binge time on Netflix, and I got, Disney Plus, and I'm cool with all of that because I'm inside my walled garden and I have attractive things to look at that distract me from the bullshit that's going on in the administration, the other bullshit that's going on geopolitical scale of things. Like, what was it dude said in Matrix? Like, ignorance is bliss, bro. And for most people, when you really have to face the realities of like what is going on in your city, in your state, in your country, in where you are in life, this shit can be overwhelming, man. And I understand why people just be like, fuck it, I'm gonna stick my head in the sand and I'm gonna just chill out here inside this walled garden.
Yeah.
Okay. You made me forget what his question was again.
I remember. Let me go before I forget.
Blame it on the brown. Blame it on the brown, bro. Blame it on the brown.
Right. Hey, well, let me say, the one thing I can say about this space that's unique than any other space is one of the first adages, DYOR. The one thing I can say about this space, like no other space, we push education on a constant. You can't be in this space and not be pushed education. I don't care where else you go in the world, you're not going to find subject matters or groups that push education the way this space pushes education. And the rabbit hole, and the rabbit hole will take you down, economics. We learn a little bit about economics. We learn about history. We learn about money. We learn about, financial literacy, and that's the one thing that is very unique about this space, like no other. I mean, look at the things that you've learned since you've come into the space that's not directly related to the space, but it's related to history as in a greater context, or related to money in a greater context. I mean, you have Americans who still don't understand that the dollar is not backed by gold.
Yo,
And don't even understand that the dollar is only backed by military force.
Yep.
And what's the first thing they say? Oh, what is it backed by? Well, you're leaning on something that's not backed on anything.
The petrodollar.
Yeah,
Petro energy.
and they don't even understand. They don't even understand the concept between going from gold standard to the petrodollar standard. You know, and so coming into this space, we learn about the creature on Jekyll Island, and we learn about the Fed, and we learn that the way the Fed is not even owned by Americans. The people who are issuing out our money is not Americans. It's owned by a foreign entity. So how could we ever truly become sovereign if somebody else owns our money? See, that's
Oh
one
man,
reason
dude.
that's one reason I'm so adamant about our money being neutral. I'm like this, man. I don't care if I don't like you. I'm willing to get down with you for your money and my money to be neutral. That don't mean that I may not still bust you upside the head because I don't like what your get down is, but our money has to be neutral. If our money isn't neutral, then we got a bigger problem between our differences. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
Because
I'm gonna throw that out
ultimately,
there.
we're enslaved.
So,
See.
so that goes into why I am not a fan of Cynthia Loomis. I have not paid enough attention to what's her name, Gillibrand out of New York, but I have listened to X number of the conversations that Cynthia Loomis has had, and like her narrative of getting into the crypto space and stuff. And I've heard her say things that definitely, to me, lead me to believe she's looking to bring crypto, Bitcoin back into the weaponizing financial system that we did with fiat.
We are. If you ask me, we're already there.
I believe that's going to be a constant struggle and a constant battle, because what I'm starting to realize is a lot of people that come out of the traditional system, they're the ones that are always pushing for, oh, well, a little bit of regulation, is good, and we need some regulation so people know where they stand, and we'll this and that. And nobody.
You remember we started hearing that narrative back in 2017, late 17. That's when we started hearing that narrative, and I said, "Oh man, big mistake."
And so once again, we're gonna. This is gonna be a constant battle because everybody isn't quite on the same page. Some people understand a little bit, some people understand completely, some people don't understand at all. This is going to be a constant battle. But the difference is that this technology, like no other technology, maybe outside of maybe the gun, where once one gun was invented, what I'm saying, and the ability for a second gun was invented. And so, I always talk about this term about us getting digital cloaks. And I really believe there will come a time when there'll be the masses who are just going along with whatever they're being fed, and there'll be a group of people throughout the world who do business or at least understand things at a more deeper level, and will transact. Maybe even some of the powers that be will transact within that, because even they understand. Some of them even understand that, what if I fall out of favor? I've been doing all this scandalous stuff for the man to help enslave the people, but what if I fall out of favor? How do I protect what I've gained, for being a part of this? Because I'm not number one, so anybody below number one is susceptible. And so I believe that they understand that they need an out as well. And so, and I also believe that they understand that the masses, the overall population, is not going to attach on to that exit strategy, is not going to attach on to that, to that safe haven, and so, in saying that, I believe there'll be some of us who will be ahead of the game, will have a key to international doors that the average person may not have a key to, or even know exist, or is aware of, because once again, they'll be just utilizing what was handed to them, and that will allow some of us to participate, even possibly in world trade, because you get two countries. Before we get to this one world order thing, there's going to be a whole lot of conflict and controversy going on. And you got one country who creates their own CBDC, another country who creates its own CBDC. They're not going to swap CBDCs with each other to do trade. They're going to look at it like, that's what you give to your people. I don't know the numbers on that. That's what you give to them. Okay, now what are we going to trade with? Okay, we can't do it in gold because it's going to take too long for it to move from one place to the next. We can't do it with paper gold because we had that problem with trust. And so at some point in time, they're going to say, well, wait a minute. okay, the only thing I know that you don't have a hand in and I don't have a hand in is Bitcoin. Now, you know, and you know, there may be a whole host of steps that take us to get to that point, and that doesn't mean that that's the final end. You know, I think at one point in the final end, maybe we do have one currency, but that's after all these other individuals want to try it for themselves. It's just like companies. Companies, what do they do when they learn about the crypto space? Oh,
Introverts.
I want to create a coin, and so they still don't get it. That way, I want to create a coin. You know, and so the same thing's going to happen with a lot of these countries. I want to create a coin. You know, but once again, when it comes time for them to do business with each other, and there's no trust, they're going to have to find a medium of trust. And it's not going to be the same system that it was before, whether, oh, we're going through the U.S. or we're going through the petrodollar. Or any
I
of
mean,
those.
technically, that's the SIP system right now. And then arguably, if you look at what China's already did, they already have the 2-tier setup as far as like the local citizen money. And then the bilateral, actually, what they call it right now is the multipolar level trade money as far as the digital side of it. So they already got like, yo, it's crazy to me how far ahead in certain technologies and applications and like implementations that China is on us about stuff. And we're over here in the States still trying to argue about like CBDCs and what we think that the US is going to come down with, or like what Europe is or EU is going to end up doing. And
They already got
China,
theirs on the ground.
they already got the tech going. They already have, right. Like, and if you look at how the One Belt, One Road has moved out globally, and if you take into account, or you at least take some consideration into the argument of that, it's not about being the hegemony as followed by what the US did, but about making a multipolar system where everyone who participates can benefit. Arguably, China's already there, man, and Russia's just sitting in the wings, like, all right, bet. Like,
we talked about this issue before, and I said it at the time, and I'll say it again. That's not bullish for cryptocurrency because of China's policies against cryptocurrencies.
Yep,
but
100%.
I would
agree on that.
I want to answer the question.
Oh, thank God! I was wondering.
I just want to ask. I'm going to try to keep it, somewhat quick and more to the point, and more so like I'm going to bring it back to like more metaphysical, like because he's asking like, basically the question was summing up that why do you think people become less interested in like the social norms when they get into this space, and it's mostly because there's a story that I read a long time ago, and it's actually it's called Plato's Allegory, and it's a story basically of there's a cave and there's people chained in the cave, and they're seeing all these illustrations on the wall, and the people that are controlling the illustrations are basically like your media, and you the individual can see that people are making these these illustrations. They're not real, they're just shadows, and so they're like puppets. But the people that are chained in the cave, they can't turn their head, so they think it's real. And it's really all about, this whole story is about perception and focus. And so when you enter this space, you're entering a space of really like what is true capitalism. Like, this is true capitalism. I'm not personally, I don't care for the system, but this is the basically the baseline of the current system we are financially, that everybody's in. And this current system is about accumulating assets. And so the more you will learn about this system, the more you start to realize that everything else that the social norms are nothing but distractions to keep you from accumulating those assets.
Yeah.
That's the whole game. And whether it's politics,
well put.
Whether it's music, sports, anything you look at, is just a distraction from your true freedom in this system. And so people profit off of that. They profit off your non-focus, and they profit off of your lack of understanding of that distraction. And so it could be a bridge that where it could be, you're being more enlightened, depending if you get in this space, you have an open mind and you're willing to learn. And like with 10 pound and Trek and everybody and LJ was talking about as far as like falling into tech and learning the tech, because that will open up a different perspective, a different focus, a different understanding. But you know, you can also come in this space and just be focused on the price or focused on getting rich and not understand, you'll be one of those people that just holding on to the bad because you've been already, you're already susceptible to that propaganda of, the narratives. And so you coming into another space with they have their narratives of just hodl or just, you know, just this coin is we're Lambo, and not understanding.
It's a bigger picture.
Definitely, yeah, it's definitely a bigger picture, and it's something like it's really something that if you get in a space or just anything, you got to question everything and try to understand the why it exists. And I think people, especially in our community, don't understand the why, and they get caught up in the illustrations on the wall that are nothing but shadows. That's the whole. That's how I see it, and that's
The
how
hype.
Yeah, I'll answer that question.
The hype.
Churches of the
Yeah,
walls are just shadows.
that's well put. Definitely. I want to
Well,
circle
well,
back. I
well,
want
that
to
goes
circle
back
back
to
to go ahead. Go ahead.
that goes back to me talking about this space, and one of its critical components is education, and what default was talking about. You reach that perspective through the education, or through the doors, through the rabbit holes that this space has for you. Of course, everybody doesn't, but even the people, even everybody gets a little bit of it to a broad degree of it. But this space is gonna challenge you to learn. Whether it's about history or whether it's about money, and then that's when you get into that perspective of realizing that everything that I've been taught has been given to me to keep me from excelling, to keep me from acquiring
Right, right.
assets. You know, the, and I want to say one last thing. And this is something that I'm really starting to really focus on, or just kind of having a understanding of. And I talk about that cloak, and I really believe it's going to come a time where, imagine all four of us in a car and we drive up to a stop sign, and there's going to be sensors that are going to pick up the devices that we have, and they're going to be able to say, is Trek cool? Is LJ cool? Is 10 pound cool? They might say, oh no, 10 pound ain't cool. He owe us some money. Okay, you just reminded the system that you owe us. We'll go in and snatch that right up out of you. And then I might not be cool, but the system is saying, oh, LJ straight, pass, all because I've
That
got
already
a
happens,
digital,
bro. That
I've got a
already
digital,
happens.
well, I've got a
LJ,
digital cloak. I've got a digital cloak over me that allows me to be acceptable to whatever the system deems is acceptable. And I believe there's going to be people in the world moving, maybe some of us moving in that way, while everybody else is being tagged and back.
You guys mentioned, China always being ahead of the curve. Well, we know that they already have something very similar to that
no,
implemented.
it's
It's called
happening here
the
in
Sesame
America,
credit.
boys. It's
Yeah.
happening here in America. People are already tracking you with air tags. Like criminals are using air tags right now from Apple. Yo, there are literal people that are like, I kid you not. I was chilling in airport in San Diego, and there was like this intelligence mom. I could tell she was a mom because she had a mom body and everything. She was this skinny, pale white woman. I kid you not. And she was like looking at me, staring at me, talking to her superior, saying, "Yo, we gotta follow this guy. He just came off a cruise ship. He spent so much money on a cruise ship." I was over there listening to her. She thought I couldn't hear her because I had like some AirPods in, but I was hearing everything she was saying, like literally everything she was saying. I knew she was talking about me, where I went, and everything. It's like, we gotta follow this guy. We gotta digitally track this guy. I'm actually kind of hard to digitally track, but of course, if you got my my device MAC address, my cell phone MAC address, then you know exactly where I'm gonna go. You know exactly who's gonna pick me up from the airport when I arrive and everything, practically as soon as it happens. and they probably are listening to this conversation right now. There is sophisticated spying tools that the NSA
Well,
has
I
used
need to
these
get you
private
up off of this
corporations,
live stream then.
bro. There are some sophisticated tools that these private corporations have access to that they're using to
Hey, it's
literally,
called Pegasus.
And I believe that
more
I
than
believe
just
all
that.
of that. I believe all of that is true, but I also believe that tech works both ways.
It's
And
a
so
cat
even
and
though they
mouse
have the
game.
ability to track, we'll have some of us will have the ability to cloak. And it's going to be a cat and mouse. It's going to be a continuum. It's not, this is never going to stop. You know,
I've been saying that forever. It's all a cat and mouse game.
Yeah. I want to leave everyone with this one. Count on Richard Hart to have some timely comments. He made mention about Saylor and Nasdaq. Basically, MicroStrategy being a shitcoin listed on Nasdaq, down 90%. Losers are gonna lose, I guess. He says. What do y'all feel about Hex in this environment? I haven't even looked into where Hex is right now.
Hex
Is
is
it?
down substantially. It's down like I'd say 85% from its all-time high, but it's still up thousands% from its all-time low. So it's still an incredible asset that's outperformed a lot of other tokens in the space. In Pulse Chain, there's been about 13,000 commits on the repository in GitLab. I've been keeping a hard track on it, primarily because I kid you not, I have a lot of it. I have a lot of test Pulse. I've used the bridge as well on testnet. I've moved over like 2 ETH worth of test ETH onto the test Pulse chain recently. And actually, I realized that he donated my money to medical research, my Ethereum to medical research for aging deficiencies, which is pretty
Oh, you
cool.
sound like a hex
I'm not a
hex.
hexman. I don't hold any
You
hex.
sound like a sacrificer. Are you
Yeah,
sacrificing
I
to the
did
Lord?
sacrifice. I
Are
did
you giving your 10% to the Lord?
No, it's not to the Lord. It went to medical research. As I was saying, I'm not a hexagon, but I know what's going on. And
No, I'm
Richard
playing with
Hart,
you. I'm playing with
Richard
you.
Hart, it has like a pretty clean laundry mat right now, and he's got a pretty clean laundry mat so far.
Can you track that?
established.
Can you track that donation on the blockchain, or he's just saying that?
Well, I mean, I'm not entirely
Well, you started with well. You started with the
sure.
operative word. The operative word is well.
Richard
So
Hart
the
has
thing
been
is
saying
that
he's
like
been saying that he's been saying that he's been donating to medical research, and he gives a compelling reason why and so forth. But I mean, whether he is or isn't, I don't know.
Hey,
I think he's
I
kind of
would be
cheesy.
I would be
He's kind of
donating
cheesy
to
with,
figure out how to stay young forever too. If I was Richard Hart myself,
Yo, ain't
all
that
them
what what's the
billions, I
name?
don't want to
That's his
bury
argument.
them.
That's his argument. He talks about he's saying a lot of the other wealthy people that died and they didn't spend any money trying to live longer. So
Wait,
that's
ain't
part of his argument.
ain't donating to a good cause what what's the name said in the Johnny Depp divorce case thing? She was like, yeah, I gave over the money. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah.
It be
What?
sounding good in the public narrative until you start digging in on it. And it's like,
What happened to Post Chain? I thought it was supposed to be live by now. I thought it was
no, it's
supposed to
not
be March.
live by now. So the thing
Ethereum
is,
2.0 is supposed to be live in 2016 too, but I'm just
no, 2018 is supposed to be live.
16.
2016,
apparently
Ethereum
that's
just
this year
launched.
though. The
Yo,
merge is this year. The merge is this
The
year.
beta chain is this year, not the.
Yo, oh god.
Actual. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the actual. Huh. Yeah.
Funny enough though, I heard an ETH dev person say that ETH 2.0 is an urban myth, as an urban legend. And it's also interesting that the Ethereum Foundation, or let me not say it that way, there are concerted efforts to rebrand ETH 2.0 into what is now being called the merge. And
I thought it was supposed to be consensus layer now.
All right. Unless they change us to another talking point. But the last thing that I was reading, because I was looking at some job application thing today for a company in the space, and that was one of the questions they asked about, like, what is the merge? And I was like, okay, interesting. It is an ETH based.
It's when you
project.
sacrifice to the Lord and then the Lord gives the money over to Richard Hart. That's what the merge is.
No, bro. The merge is when the beacon chain actually meets
Bro, we
up.
know what the merge is.
We know what the merge. Come on,
I'm joking,
10
bro.
pound. Come on, bro.
Y'all trolling. I was gonna say something
Hey,
crazy.
hey, well,
Johnny
you know
would let
what?
me get to my
You know
punchline.
what?
Damn.
You know what? To me, this just all proves what people have been saying for as long as I can remember, and we didn't want to necessarily hear it. This stuff is hard. All the promises,
Yes,
all the
yes,
promises, see, all the promises that were being
yes.
sold was being sold like, oh no, it's we'll have that the next year. That'll be all be done, and then there were people who were saying, look, what you talking about doing is hard. That's why we've only gotten to this point with Bitcoin because the stuff you're talking about doing is hard, and you're going to have to break a whole lot of stuff and lose a whole lot of people's money before you figure it out. And so it's just all this stuff is starting to come back to fruition. It's all starting to come back and say, hey, some of these people were right. This stuff is not
Rather,
it's not easy.
I rather Ethereum devs take their time, keep punting it, kicking the can down the road, than to succumb to the pressure of rolling out, ETH beacon chain, whatever you wanted to merge, or whatever you want to call it. Because I don't know, I have a gut in my gut feeling, man. I just feel like they're going to rush it. They're going to succumb to the pressure, and they're going to screw up something major with the ETH migration. So I don't know. Hopefully not. Hopefully Crypto Dominance is wrong, but we'll see. Last thing I want to just touch on really quickly is this is probably more so to default before we wrap up. We got about 10 minutes. Fed hike this Wednesday. Are we doing 75 basis points, 50, or surprising the markets with a 100 basis point move up?
Man, I think that 75 is going to happen, and I think probably another 75 in July. Like that's what it's looking like.
Do you feel like this move in cryptos, and don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, the equity markets were hit pretty hard today as well. Stocks were hit badly. Do you think they were pricing in that 75?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too.
Since that core inflation report since Friday, and that's when the acceleration to the downside has really taken off. The Fed is trying to kill they're trying to kill demand. That's the only tool they have left because they can't control prices because they don't have the supply. You got this war going on with Russia, and so your oil prices are rising, and when oil prices rising, all goods and services prices will increase, and so they're trying to kill demand.
Hold on. There's a whole thing on why part of why the price thing is going on. It's not a production output issue. It's a processing issue. We don't have the capacity to process. That's the bottleneck issue for us in the States. And then that whole SPR thing, we're giving X amount of that to Europe. So the administration is saying, like, screw the local American people. Just saying.
Yeah,
That as well. I mean, but it all comes down to they're trying to deliberately decrease demand, and
oh yeah,
I don't see it stopping until, like you were saying, September. I really don't see it stopping until 2023, and
Oh my God! Well, where does that put us in crypto then, man? That's
what I'm
a
saying.
lot of hype.
12K seems more likely, man. Like
yeah,
this seems way more likely than
12K Bitcoin puts altcoins other than Ethereum pretty much puts altcoins at $0.
A lot of them, yeah.
I mean, that is crazy, bro. And I believe you. I'm with you,
bro. I've been saying that forever. The culling is when it happens is going to be crazy how it happens. Not crazy like unbelievable, especially for those of us who are paying enough attention, but crazy in regards to how much stuff is going to get wiped off the table. And part of it, when it gets wiped off the table, you're going to have the folks who had the dry powder. And when I say the folks who had the dry powder, I mean the institutional side, the governmental side, and they're going to come in and they're going to acquire up companies and the talent pool. Those are the two things that I think are going to happen this decade for when the culling really like kicks in. If this price thing drops to the level that y'all are talking about, that's the thing that I see happening. So when we push towards 2030, the space is going to look way different.
On top of the regulation that's going to
That
be
too.
hammered down.
That too.
Haven't even talked about that.
Okay, so yeah, imagine they kill off all these projects and then they implement regulations, then that makes it difficult for new projects to come through.
Right.
Exactly.
That shuts everything down, or at least hampers and makes things a lot more difficult. I honestly, I see things getting ugly before it gets better, man.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Another off the chain episode.
Like, man, screw 10 pound. 10 pound ain't shit.
You over there having your purple rain moment, bro. Enjoy.
Hey, one of the comments said something about 10 pound and shrooms, man. They need to go hang out and pick some shrooms, man.
Oh yeah, dude. That'd be pretty cool. Yo, yeah, I want to showcase that tech soon, but on the channel here.
Rice told me, bro. Rice told me. Your joint is lit.
Yeah, dude, it's pretty ridiculous. And the thing is, if you got haptics, you can actually feel like it going in your stomach and the vibrations.
Pause.
Where it hits you. Yeah, bro, it's pretty neat. Like literally, it's like whenever you drink something in VR, like it's like a wave, like coming down like from the top of your chest to the bottom of your chest. It's pretty cool.
I don't like how that sounds, but okay. We'll end the live stream at that one. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Check out all the contributors as well that are on CBTV. They're putting out great content. I know you guys are loving it too. It's your boy Crypto Blood. We out of here. Holla.
Litecoin, Ethereum, cash, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash, stacking my coin, stacking my coin, stacking my coin, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash. Since I was born, been stacking my coin. These niggas pop, my money keep growing.